All dreams considered. All dreams considered. All dreams considered.
Welcome back to All Dreams Considered with Sarah. Today I am talking with Kristy from Lyoness Tarot. And she's going to be doing a reading for this podcast. Would you like to tell us your philosophy or your dream of what tarot is?
Yes, absolutely. And thank you so much for having me. So I believe that tarot is a work together. It's a labor of love in many ways. And I think that it's a work together between the artist, the reader, and the querent. So the artist has their intention, their vision, their dream that they've put into the artwork, into the cards. And then I have the intuition that I gain from the images. And I like to use the book initially with a new deck so that I can learn the artist's intentions, the artist's vision. And then I'll move away from the book and bring my intuition into it. And then I work with the querent to help me build the story for their life.
Ooh, I love that.
Yes, the querent often knows more than I do because, they know themselves. They know their own life. They know, I'm not a magic genie. I'm not a wizard. I'm an intuitive empath, and I can tell you what the universe has for you. But I need you to fill in the pieces of your life to bring us together into a mutual vision for you.
Find what resonates and what wants to be revealed in this moment.
Yes, exactly.
I love it.
So the three of us work together. Even though the artist isn't present, their cards are there and they're present through that. So we're all three there together to work together.
Well, and they put a lot of intention into these cards, and the dream of what these cards would go into the world to do for the world.
Yes, this is very true. They do. So I would love to give you a reading for the podcast. If you're
this.
Open. All right, we're going to do a little bit of a modified Celtic cross.
And I will take a picture of it and put it on later.
Sure. Oh, I think
It's all right.
there we go.
I see what you're doing.
Yes, I want to make sure that they stay right side up.
And why do you read right side up?
So I used to read reversals if the artist intended reversals for that deck. However, I found that through my intuition and based on the question and the querent and all things combined, I could get the same message from the card right side up as I could reading it upside down or reversed, as we call it. So I choose to read only upright in order to allow my intuition the ability and the strength to form its own life, so to speak.
Gotcha.
All right. Ooh, very, very interesting.
Oh.
We pull a major right out of the gate here, and it's the world, by the way.
Oh, that sounds lovely.
I know, right? Okay. So, your first card, we have the World, or the 21st of the major arcana. And the World tells me that one cycle of your journey has completed and is birthing into a new cycle, birthing into your podcast. Yes, the World is a very intense card because it's like you're taking the reins, you're taking the baton from your previous traveler in your journey, and they're passing it on to you now. Your past self is passing the baton to your present self and saying, now is the time to run forth. Now is the time to move forward with your next leg of this journey, your next step on the podcast
Which is beginning the podcast.
Yes, exactly. It's
been preparing for 5 years.
That's actually amazing. I'm really proud of you, by the way, for, moving forward and
Thank you.
taking the reins and doing it. So, by the way, I want to also add, before we get too far into the reading, we are using the Murder of Crows tarot deck.
Beautiful deck. And who makes it, do you know?
Corrado Roy is the artist. And Yeah, so murder is the term for the group of crows. So it's not as morbid as it sounds.
I personally often think of attempted murder when I see two crows.
Oh, really? Interesting.
It's one of those personal jokes for
Yeah,
myself.
that's funny. So, so the world. So we have the beginning of your podcast. We have the end of your preparation and the beginning of your journey in actually doing it, making it real, making it happen.
I love that.
The opposing force to this is the King of Swords. And the King of Swords, as an opposing force, it's communication. I think the barrier to this point has been communication. And now you're breaking free from those bonds that held you back from actually doing this. Now your words are flowing. Your words are coming forth. Your words, when you speak, people are going to listen because you've put in the time, you've put in the work.
Oh, thank you. Well, and also we're during Mercury retrograde right now.
Oh, that's right. That ends today, right? And Saturn retrograde starts tomorrow.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. Something. That's what I heard. I don't follow it as closely as I should, but
I write about it and I blog about it, but then I forget the days. What day is today? Yeah.
Today's June 4th. So I believe today is when Mercury retrograde.
Yeah. Ends.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. So what's really interesting to me is the root of the situation is the Four of Cups. And the Four of Cups to me is often about missing something. We're missing part of the point. We're missing part of our perspective on the situation. We're looking at the empty cup, the cup that has spilled, rather than the three full cups. And I think that this as a root, this as a send-off point, is you finding those full cups. You realizing the empty cup was not your cup. And you have really kind of walked into your own, if that makes sense. Like your lesson of the cups is completed. That's the message of the world. That's where we're starting, is that the lesson of the Four of Cups has completed. Your perspective has shifted to where you are now looking at what's full, what's yours.
That's actually a good point. I actually have started, what do I know?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much dreams is what I know best, so that's what I'm going forward with.
Oh, very cool. I love dream studies, so I look very forward to following your podcast.
Oh, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. I find it interesting that we have another four here. We have the Four of Swords in the past position. And the Four of Swords is the rest card. And I think here we're laying to rest all of your hard work, your preparation, the building blocks, because they're being laid as the foundation to build on that foundation, your podcast. Build like the Taj Mahal, so to speak. You know what I mean? Like the very spiritual, beautiful, grand building, the one everyone comes to see. You've laid the foundation, and you can put that behind you, and you can rest now and go forward with your journey, go forward with your dream of sharing dream knowledge. I love that.
Thank you.
So your goal here, we have the Nine of Pentacles. And the Nine of Pentacles is a really interesting card because it tells me that your goal is stability and groundedness. Your goal is to reach and achieve that level and that point of your podcast having a life of its own. And I think that the way in which you define success will determine the success of the podcast. Mm-hmm. I think that just knowing you, the little that I do, I think that your idea of success for the podcast is changing lives. Mm-hmm. And I think that you will be successful in that because, your goal is really to make an impact and to change lives and fulfill people, just sharing your knowledge and fulfilling people's needs in understanding their dreams, understanding themselves better, and increasing self-awareness. We were talking about self-awareness earlier, and I think that that's a really huge key factor in people's lives. Mm-hmm. And I think that through dream study, that's something that they can achieve. And so I think that's a really beautiful goal that I'm seeing for your podcast here.
Oh, thank you. That is beautiful. And also that is, how we started this before the podcast started. We started with a grounding, centering.
We did.
And I see this podcast as like grounding dreams into this reality and helping people to recognize that the dreams that we have and the various forms that they are in, not only are we empowered, self-empowered to understand them ourselves, but by bringing them into this reality and acknowledging that our subconscious is always doing all this work, trying to help guide us in the way that we should go, or the way that would be best, or just bring to our mind, our attention, the things that we're ignoring, bringing that into this reality, that more of us will pay attention to that. That is exactly, I appreciate that you said all that, because that does feel exactly like the goal I have with this.
I love
just
that.
Self-empowering people to realize that you have the power. Yes. And you can learn how to understand your own waking dreams, sleeping dreams, however the dreams present to you.
I love that. It's like breaking down the barrier between our conscious and our subconscious to fully understand ourselves as whole humans.
Yes.
I love that. That is an amazing dream. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Well, yeah, and it's all about it's becoming friends with my subconscious.
Yes.
With our subconscious. The collective unconscious is what we are integrating right now.
Oh, that's beautiful. What's also really beautiful here, talking about that, leads into our next card, our future position, the Death card. Mm-hmm. Death is all about rebirth. And I feel like what you're saying with combining our conscious and subconscious selves and becoming friends with our subconscious is very much about rebirthing our souls into a new whole being. I always feel like the Death card is about wholeness and becoming whole, because we rebirth into our true selves. We rebirth into our true nature. It's death to our unawareness, death to our lack of being, and coming into wholeness. And so I feel that with the podcast. And so your near future is really about breaking down those barriers. And, we talked about with the Four of Swords, laying to rest, being in the past, and now rebirth is in the future. And it's so prophetic of the nature of what you're doing, becoming friends with the subconscious, becoming whole, it's like shaking hands, you transfer energy. And as, when you become friends with someone, when you meet someone, you shake their hand often, that's our culture's symbol of, connecting.
Right.
And I think that, there's an energy transfer there. And so when you say become friends with your subconscious, I have this picture of shaking hands with my subconscious and transferring energy. And energy is birth. Rebirth is energy. And that's what the Death card is rebirth.
I love that.
It's energy. All right. So we have your internal influences, or the U card. We have the Knight of Swords. And I find this interesting because we had the King of Swords earlier. What is your sun sign?
I'm an Aries.
You're an Aries.
I'm an Aquarian moon and Sagittarius rising.
Okay, so you're fire, air, fire. Okay, very interesting. Okay. All right. Swords are air cards, and that's why I ask. So you have Aries moon, you said?
Or
Aries rising.
Okay. Aries, yeah. Aries sun.
Sorry, I'm sorry. Please cut that out.
Oh, no, it's fine.
Okay. All right. So, so we have air cards here, which is because we also have the Page of Swords as the external influences. So I'm just looking at how many swords we have in here. It's really interesting. So for the Knight of Swords, this is very much about coming into your own truth. And I think that's what you're doing, is you're coming into your truth and you're sharing your truth. And in sharing your truth, you're helping other people find their truth. And I think that's really, if we combine the Knight of Swords internal influences, with the Page of Swords external influences, it's that sharing your truth to help others find their truth. Because swords are about communication. Swords are about thought. Swords are about truth. That's what I ultimately find. They cut to the heart of the matter. And they're about truth. And I think that that's what you're doing, is you're sharing yours to help others find theirs.
Yes, and in my past, I know so many people have talked about their dreams as, it was just a dream.
No.
You know, as opposed to, this was a significant event that I had that actually influences who I am today. Even if it was just a minor thing, you know, whether it's a nightmare or a, dream snippet. I believe that we remember all of our dreams and that our subconscious keeps track of them. I've had many dreams come back to me many years later, like, gosh, I dreamt that when I was 7. I forgot about that. And now I remember, and now this is how it applies to my life today. But the subconscious, becoming friends with my subconscious, the internal and the external communication and truth, understanding my own truth and accepting my own truth and helping other people realize, even if you don't necessarily resonate with a dream today, it might not be for today. Maybe it's for later or for someone else. But yes.
That's interesting. And if I may jump back to what you said earlier about the forms dreams come in, you mentioned waking dreams. And I'm reminded of, when you talk about our subconscious remembering things, when we have a memory, we're not remembering the event, we're remembering our last memory of that event. So then the next time we're remembering this memory, and then the next time we're remembering that memory. We're not remembering the event, we're remembering our last memory of the event. And to me, that is a waking dream. It is a dream in many ways because it's something that we've formed in our mind. We've formed that memory, and now we're remembering a dream almost.
Right. Well, I think all memories kind of are dreams.
Yes.
Regardless. Yes, I know this happened. And yet, like you say, it changes over time.
It does. Yes, thank you so much for putting those words together. See, you are the wordsmith. You are the swords. I like it. So, yeah, I think that it's really interesting. And then we have the star, actually, for the message the universe has for you or for your hopes and dreams. And I think that that's really interesting because we only see the stars at night, and often dreams are associated with night. And even though we can have waking dreams and we can have dreams during the day and all that things, it's often dreaming is associated with nighttime, and stars are a nighttime event. So I think that the message the universe has for you is hope and faith. And because that's what the star card is about, is hope and faith. So I think hope and faith in your dreams, and putting faith in your words, putting faith in your truth, and having that hope and that faith that you will fulfill your goal and achieve that, what we talked about with helping others become more self-aware and helping others find their truth and helping others become, grounded and stable and welcoming their subconscious into their daily life. If that makes sense.
Yeah, instead of trying to hide it underneath the carpet.
No more sweeping under the rug.
Right.
No more sweeping under the rug. Now we welcome and embrace our subconscious. We embrace our dreams.
Exactly.
Even the nightmares, they're all telling us something. We have to embrace that.
Yeah. And actually embracing the nightmare, like embracing the monster in the nightmare, is one of the best ways to make peace with it.
Yes, and it's just like we talked about earlier. You can't send away the worry until you acknowledge it.
Right.
You have to acknowledge and embrace your nightmare in order to, like you said, make friends with the monster. And actually, if I may talk about my own dreams a bit,
please.
I have in the past had lucid dreams. And I learned in high school that often what you should do if you're able to lucid dream is when you have a nightmare, take control of your dream and walk up to the monster and ask them why they're there. Ask them, what message do you have for me? What are you trying to tell me? What does your presence mean? And so I have confronted monsters in my dreams before, and I can't say I remember them very clearly, but that's because I embraced it, and it's not sticking with me because I learned the lesson and we moved forward. So, yes. Lucid dreaming.
That.
I hope you talk about it.
I do.
Oh,
yeah,
wonderful.
I talk about all dreams are considered on my podcast.
Oh, yes.
And
wonderful.
I also think we are always dreaming even as we're like right now, this is our shared dream that we're having together.
Ooh, interesting.
But I'll talk more about that on the podcast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. All right. Oh my gosh. Your final potential outcome card. Okay, so here's another thing I like to say about tarot. Tarot doesn't predict the future. Tarot tells you your possible future that you can manifest.
Right.
And tells you how to achieve it or avoid it, depending on that potential outcome. So it's a message that the universe has for you of this is what's coming. This is how you can either manifest it or this is how you can prevent it.
And I like to think of that as tarot cards actually show me the energies that are at play.
Yes.
And even though, these cards might mean something to one person, because it's energy is fluid and moves.
Yes, it's malleable.
Right. So we can actually, by having this information come to us, we can actually choose, well, how am I going to see this? What kind of, where do I want the energy to move towards?
Yes, absolutely. It is all energy. The universe is what connects us, and the universe is energy. And we have the ability to bring into our lives that which we want, and we have the ability to leave behind that which we don't.
Right.
Like I was saying, is we can walk away from that doesn't serve us, that doesn't serve our greater good, and and we can choose the things that do serve our greater good. And I think tarot is a way to guide our minds into manifesting what we do and don't want. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I love that you're talking about it as energy, because that is absolutely what it is. So we have the Three of Cups, and the Three of Cups is about that energy that connects us. It's about the connectedness, the spiritual bond that we have together. The Three of Cups is your friends, your loyalty, your love, your respect, those things that come together. Those are the three things that I talk about when I get the Three of Wands, as loyalty, love, and respect. And I think that comes into play with the Three of Cups as well, which is what we have here, is the Three of Cups. And I think that's that energy that we share, that spiritual bond that we have, you, me and Joanne.
Yes, exactly.
Today, that is our Three of Cups. And I think, this is saying that really ultimately your podcast is going to reach people on a spiritual level, and you're going to have bonds with people that you normally would never even know through your podcast, because that's what we're reading about right now is your podcast. And I think, in light of that, the Three of Cups is saying it's going to bring you together with people that you wouldn't normally reach because of your podcast. So I think that's really beautiful.
Wow, what a great reading. I love this. This was so inspiring, and I love the way that you go through and you actually you totally do intuit. You read into it what not only what you've learned, but what's coming to you, like you're channeling other information.
Yes.
And how can people get in touch with you?
So I have an Instagram. It is at KristyReadsTarot, KristyReadsTarot, at KristyReadsTarot. I believe that is also my TikTok. Or you can find me, let's see, my email address is KristyReadsTarot, KristyReadsTarot, @gmail.com. You can reach me there as well.
And do you have a website yet?
I do have a website, but it is a GoDaddy website, so it's very long. The link is on my Instagram.
Perfect. And I can put that in the show notes as well.
Oh, that would be wonderful. Yes. So I will give you my website.
Great.
Yeah. And you can also contact Inner Oasis, and Joanne can put you in touch with me.
Excellent. Yes. So, and if you are somewhere else in the world than Oregon, there's still ways to get in touch with Kristy and have her do a reading for you. Will you do Zoom or remote readings?
Absolutely. Most of my readings are done through Facebook Messenger or video calls. So, yes,
Beautiful.
I have Zoom, Instagram, Facebook, all of that. You
right.
can connect with me virtually.
And I assume, I don't want you to talk about your rates now because those change over time.
Yes, they do, but they will be listed on the website.
Beautiful. Beautiful. All right. Thank you so much, Kristy, for coming today and giving me this amazing reading. And thank you for letting me put this up on the podcast.
You're welcome. Thank you for allowing me to read for you and share energy.
Yeah, my pleasure. And as a reminder, this is Sarah with All Dreams Considered, and we have been talking with Kristy Reads Tarot. So check her out, and we'll have more coming to you soon. Thank you.
All dreams considered. All dreams considered. All dreams considered.